event. We have Officer Brown with us today. We have a colleague working with him. And Officer Brown was brought back by popular demand. We had him a couple of months ago and everybody wanted him to come back. So here he is, he's back again. Everybody give Officer Brown a hand for coming back. I would just like to just touch a few bases before we get started. We're going to start probably like around 7 to give everybody a chance to get something to eat and drink and relax to get ready for it. I would like to start out with our missionary statement. We always have a missionary statement for the committee events. And I'm just going to share the one that I have for the Neighborhood Services and Safety Committee. The NSSC, with engaged citizens, will work together to solve issues to make our community great. The goal of the NSSC is to sponsor and develop programs that seek to prevent crime and make this community the best place to live, work, and play. So that's our theme for this committee here. I'm going to turn it over to Officer Brown so he can say a couple of words to everybody. And again, thank you and enjoy it.
How y'all doing today?
Good.
Man, y'all quiet in here. I feel like I was in church for a second. Right?
I got to make some noise.
There you go. I appreciate you all for allowing us to come back as reality-based training group. Last time I was here, first let me get a hand who was here last good. So we got a whole little section over here that we went through it. So what I'm gonna do with you all, and with you all here, you all have been through the stress part, okay? I'm gonna push through just a little fast, and the reason I'm gonna push through a little fast is because now we want to introduce something else to you, which is now the active shooter piece. Okay, the stress part reason we brought this in first is because in order to be able to do the things we ask you to do in a stressful environment, you got to understand stress and the physiological effects of it on the body. If you don't understand that, you're wasting your time. Okay, because understand when that stress hits, you won't even know exactly what happened. Okay, all right. Push it. Good to go, Sean? Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, first of all, before we get started, I'm going to introduce my partner, Sean Reeves. Got 27 years on Prince George County Police Department, 20 years on their EST team, which is their SWAT team for the Prince George County Police Department. And people that don't know me, I had 15 years on, ended up finished up my time over at Fairmount Heights. And I was on the SWAT team also with this guy. He didn't want to train me, actually. All right, so we ended up getting together and putting together a team and bringing y'all numbers.
Let's give him a hand.
The person is right here with stress. And again, I'm going to push through this kind of fast. And kids, I want you all to understand this too, because why this also could affect you in bullying. Okay? And I'll talk about how. Alright, mental state of high stress incidents. In order to understand how a person functions during high stress incidents is important to understand the mental state a person might experience before doing combative situations. Alright? When we go through a combative situation, we're not our normal person. Okay? Which means just prior to that fight, alright, what happens, two type of things are rushed into our body, alright, two hormones. One of them is adrenaline. Okay, we'll talk about that a little later, what it's called. High stress anxiety. The anticipation of danger. This anticipation may lead to a gradual deterioration of both mental and physical skills. So the time that you think you can do certain things under stress, if you've never done them before under stress, you can't do them. Okay, it's physiological, it's impossible. Okay, because why? Our heart rate is too high. Alright, dialing 911. How many your parents told you dial 911 if something happens? Alright, so understand parents, if they're so stressed out, they can't even dial 911. Okay, we'll talk about that later. Alright, survival stress, we start with daily force perception that initiate what they call the sympathetic nervous system discharge. Those are the two hormones that's released into your body. Alright, you walking down the street, dog comes out the yard, next thing you know, you jump onto a car. You're like, man, how do I do that? I couldn't even get out of bed this morning. Right? Because that's what happens, to give you that extra energy. Okay? Combat stress. Deal with the post-event mental and physiological symptoms that are a result of the SNS activation and a sudden return to the parasympathetic nervous system. Right now, you all are in the parasympathetic nervous system, which means you are relaxing, your heart rate's low, everything's cool. All right. How fast do you think it takes for you to get to the SNS with the sympathetic nervous system? How fast?
2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2/10 of a second.
2/10 of a second. Absolutely. Right? Very fast. It's very quick. Okay? So you got the fight, flight, or freeze. We experience excessive stress, whether in internal or worry or external circumstances. The body reaction is triggered, called a fight, flight, or freeze. Those are the only 3 things you're going to do in a stressful situation. That's it. Okay? You can't do nothing else. When the system is activated, it uses more energy, the blood pressure increases, the heart beats faster with more force. All right, the pupils dilate, and the digestive system slows down. Just understand, the mind you train with will not be the one you have when you're stressed. Okay, so understand that this right here is going to cause either the heart attack if you haven't been taking care of yourself. Because why? It's going to pump your heart rate through the roof, your blood pressure going to go through the roof, and if you're not a person that's been out here getting your heart right, then what's going to happen is they're going to go, uh-oh, the body's going, man, I haven't felt this in a long time, right? I don't like it. Okay, and then that's when you know if you have a medical issue internal. Okay, hopefully you don't, and you start working on that. And one of the biggest goals for us to be in here today, all right, at least get out here and start walking. Okay, cardio is huge. All right, when it comes to stress, dealing with it. All right, sympathetic nervous system activation triggers 4 situations are known to activate the SNS. Objective threat perception. That's when the threat is in close proximity. The time needed to control the threat is minimal. A person is not confident in his or her abilities. Okay, if you're not confident in your abilities, you already stressed out before the situation even happened. Okay, so you gotta be confident in what you can do. Any of y'all take any martial arts, anything like that? Boxing? Y'all fight each other? I'm sure. Right? It's cool. But you want to get confident when you're doing stuff, right? Because what happens is you're now walking away, and this is where the confidence come in with bullying. Okay, bullies do not like fights. They like to be the predator. Okay, they don't like to deal with people that's confident. So when you walk around with your chest stuck out, your shoulders back, and your head up, that's showing that you're confident in yourself. And 9 times out of 10, the bully gonna just go ahead and leave you alone. Okay, so just make sure you carry yourself like that. All right. All right. Objective fear perception. This includes a person having fear of death, injury, killing, incorrect decision making, failure, of fear itself. And I can tell you one thing right now. One of the big things in law enforcement, this guy right here, lieutenant in the back, can probably tell you, is especially for the citizen, is incorrect decision making. We got to make split-second decisions. But yet, you all are the ones that actually judge us. So understand that. So the good thing about it is now you're learning exactly what we go through, believe it or not. This is a class for you about law enforcement and yourself, if you look at this. Okay? Sympathetic nervous system activation triggers. All right, physical exhaustion. All right, caused by either depletion of fuel system or inadequate nutrition. Make sure you're eating good. Make sure you eat a good meal. All right, stay away from a lot of stuff if you know it's bad for you. All right, the startle response. If a person encounters a threat, spontaneous or unexpected or close proximity, you step out the shower. You didn't know nobody was home. Right? That's when the heart rate goes through the roof. All right? All right, what happens when sympathetic nervous system activation? Tunnel vision. Again, what happens is you now focus only on the threat. Only. Nothing else around you matters. Right? Because why? It's a threat to you. You ever heard anybody say, hey, I got robbed and the only thing I saw was the big black gun? Okay, how did it look? I don't know. What did he have on? I don't know. Okay, so again, only thing they're paying attention to is the threat. And the same thing happened to us if we don't know how to get out of that. Okay? The SNS activation of peripheral field can be reduced 70% or more, which means you don't see anything out here. Loss of near vision. All right, when this occurs, the officer will experience yourself with great difficulty. Focus on objects inside of 4 feet. So if you ever heard of somebody getting into a fight and they said, man, I was getting stabbed and didn't even know it. Okay, that's because they didn't see the knife come out or the gun come out due to their heart rate was so high. Okay, so again, the things that you do under stress is different. All right, loss of ability to focus. When this occurs, officers or yourself, it'll be hard to focus on a lot of things. So when you start looking at this, a simple sign might be blurry to you because of the fact that your heart rate's so high. Okay? Example, officer and officer shooting. They go, well, how is it that I can shoot another officer? Well, believe it or not, I cannot see that badge around that officer's neck if I'm too stressed out. I can't do it. It's physically impossible. Okay? Loss of binocular vision. Binocular vision is predominantly used in shooting situations where accuracy is critical. Right? So how many times you heard they say, man, police shoot to kill? Raise your hand if you heard that. Alright? Alright, so I'm about to let you know some knowledge right quick, right? So what happens is, when we shoot, we have to shoot center mass. Okay, this is center mass. Why do we shoot center mass though? The biggest part of the body, because what? We're stressed. Alright, we're human. Just understand that. We're human. So understand when you're talking about right now, somebody under stress, who else is under stress in a shooting situation if we talk about active shooter? The active shooter person. Which means if you understand this, you win it already. Okay? Because you know what that person can do and what that person can't do. Okay? So that's a good thing. Alright, loss of depth perception. This will cause you to incorrect estimate distance or loss of night vision as well. Again, I'm pushing through this a little bit because I definitely want to get that. There we go. At approximately 145 beats per minute, complex motor skills begin to deteriorate. Gross motor skills. Those are big gross motor skills. Alright? Skills that involve large muscle groups. When you start talking about that, straight punches, for baton strikes, or isosceles shooting. Alright, optimal range for combat in the heart rate. You want it to be 115 between 115 and 145. It is when the heart rate is within this range. The complex motor skills, visual reaction time, cognitive reaction time, a person's ability to process information will be at its highest. Okay, so understand, half you all right now sitting here, if your heart rate's near 100, it's easy to get that to 145. Alright, so understand, once we startle, next thing you know, boom, it shoots up. Some of your skills will start to deplete as the heart rate goes up. Okay?
Excuse me, what's a isosceles shooting?
Isosceles shooting is big, so I'm gonna go back to the young guys. Y'all seen the dance? The youngest guys do? You seen that? Don't laugh at it. Right? But the thing about it is, back in the days, they used to shoot like this. Right? Well, they found out under stress you can't do it. So everything we do now is big. Right? It's big. So we here, point straight out. Just like fighting. Alright? Everything we do is big. If you look at young guys fight out here, people out in the street fighting, their first start out like this, and then the first punch is like this. Because of the fact that stress. Alright? So again, it goes right here, dialing 911. If I take one of y'all phone out right now and have you dial 911 while it's locked and I'm yelling at you and putting you through stress, it's going to be hard for you to even unlock it. Okay? Again, that's why they use gross motor skills, big, and that goes even to shooting. Under the best conditions, the average person will have approximate burn time of 10 to 15 seconds to control a threat. Now watch this. If you're not in shape or you're stressed out, you can cut that off already. So if you, an active shooter comes in here right now, step in here, and half you all get stressed out, and you're not in shape, you can cut that 10 to 15 seconds out right now if you got to go hands-on with this person. Okay? You're already stressed out. After initial burn time, you can expect to experience a dramatic decrease in strength and energy output. Okay? The human body relies upon three systems. This one right here is nothing but creatine. Fuel that is stored in the muscles. The system's used during high energy and high strength activities, sprinting, lifting heavy weights, and defending yourself. Alright, the system gives you 100% output. However, the system burns out about 3 to 12 seconds, and the person or the officer can expect to have a 45% decrease in maximum output. You are not going to be 100% in 3 to 12 seconds into a fight, a real fight, for your life fight. Okay, an active shooter fight. Because you're going to have to. Yes, sir.
So when people on drugs that slow all that stuff down, they can still act a fool.
And let me explain something to you. So these drugs right here, man, they are different animals. And the reason I say different animals is because their heart rate is already so high, they're so amped up. And we can do everything you can with them. They pain tolerance is gone. It's big, it's bad. Right? And that's why it's so dangerous out here with these drugs right now. And it's unfortunately that we even got to deal with people like that. Alright? Alright, so then the next one kick in is the LAS. Once the ATP has been depleted, the LAS will act as an afterburn fuel. This system does not burn as hot as the ATP, but will provide about 45 seconds of intermediate strength and endurance. Here's the scary one though. Once the AS kick in, around 90 seconds into a confrontation, The LAS is depleted and the A has become the final dominant fuel. This system is very economical and burn for a long period of time, but the officer maximum output or your maximum output would be reduced to approximately 31%. But here's the scary part. That's when you give up on you. That's when you just go, you know what, man, just go ahead and kill me. I'm done. Right? Because at the end of the day, this right here is the part where you will give up on you. You got to have something bigger than that. Sean's going to talk about that in a second. Okay, if you have that extra thing, then you can push through this. But if you don't have that, you won't do it. Alright, this right here is big, and I love this quote because it's not just for law enforcement, it's not just for survival, it's about life. Alright? If you don't give up, eventually you will break the cycle and you will overcome any obstacle. Okay? You will overcome any obstacle. At that point now, if you just push forward, have faith, push through, you will win. Okay? And Sean will get into the numbers about active. That's why I'm pushing through this, because I definitely want my people that's seen this before to experience what we're about to teach you in a second. Alright, how we reduce it. Now, we told you about it. Mindset. Positive mindset. A belief in the mission, a commitment to completing it. You gotta have a positive mindset. I'm sorry, I'm small, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna win. It is what it is, even on the street, because I got something to live for. Alright, and I have something I have to go home to. Alright, so at the end of the day, my mindset is awesome. Alright, start looking at that motor skill selection. Motor skill selection and fear management. We're talking about big, gross motor skills, and we talk about that in a second. Nutrition and hydration. Poor nutrition leads to fatigue, and fatigue leads to fear. The more you eat, well, the old saying is, you are what you eat. Okay? And if you eating all types of crazy stuff, the time you get into a situation, all of a sudden your energy level is done because you depleted a little bit of it, which was actual nutrition, now through stress. Okay? But if you eat healthy and all that stuff, it'll give you longer time of energy. Okay? Fitness. Train like we fight. I know some of us are older, but at the end of the day, like me, my Achilles are terrible. I can't run like this Thundercat back here. He older than me, but he run like a gazelle. But at the end of the day, I still get out there and I walk, put my earphones on. I know if I walk 30 minutes one way, I gotta walk 30 minutes back to get home. So at the end of the day, now I just walk the hour. Okay, and I try to do that elliptical or something, but I try to stay in some type of shape. Alright, so you're looking at confidence factor, realistic training. You have to go into realistic training. Hopefully we can come back and now use this area to teach you how to fight. Okay, teach you how to do weapon takeaway. Teach you how to build confidence. Alright, hopefully we can do that. Alright, motor skill selection, gross motor skills, we talked about that, and we talked about tactical breathing. Technique used to assist in decreasing the heart rate. Some of us, parents, workers, employees, will drive us crazy. We got to learn how to inhale, hold for 4 seconds. You laugh over there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Pause for 4 seconds and let out slow for 4 seconds. Because what happens, it works like a car. It brings the heart rate back down. Okay, to idle. At that point, once you come back down to idle, you can start thinking clearly again. Okay? Visualization drills. Alright, you need to be on the other side of the door. That's kind of some terminology we use. But in other words, I need to see it and deal with it before I get to it. Okay, prior to it. It can be anything. It could be some type of program I'm about to do, or some type of what's the name of the thing where you gotta what kids do? I forgot the name of it. Anyway, but before you do it, you gotta have your mind set on it. All right, faith factor, positive attitude. You have to. All right, mind chatter. This is the big thing right here that kills a lot of us before we even do anything. Mind chatter. Right. First of all, I can probably tell you, man, why are we going here today? I heard it before. Is he going to say the same thing? Right? Because mind chatter will destroy us. Believe it or not, mind chatter is endless, restless stream of incomplete thoughts, anxieties of self-talk. When your face is looking like this, you want it to make sense. Some things in life, unfortunately, don't make sense. In order to survive, mind chatter is always searching for possible threats, dangerous solutions, and explanations. You want it to make sense. Everything don't make sense. Somebody walking here right now with a gun don't make sense to me. It is what it is. We try to make it make sense. Look, she scared everybody. She walked right in. Right? Alright? So you start looking at realistic training, create situational files in your brain. Alright? You start doing that. Hopefully with this training right here, now we can start putting little files in your brain. So if you ever see this again, you can go, you know what? I've seen this before. And I know how to deal with it. Okay, realistic training scenarios. And here's the big thing. Don't be afraid to be afraid. I tell young officers in police officers and young kids used to walk up to me all the time. Are you scared? Absolutely I am. But guess what? I know how to control it. Okay? And I have some other things to help me out with that. Alright? Fear puts you in it now. Okay? Teach your fears to communicate with your training, experience, and instincts. Sean's going to talk about this later on in the next one. Alright, so I'm not even going to jump into that. Alright, he'll talk about a little bit about the OODA loop when he get on that too. But just one thing, always remember this. Just remember, a wolf only respects a what?
Another wolf.
Another wolf. If you all of a sudden, you that sheep and you walking down the street, a wolf will identify you. But again, put your shoulders back, put your head up, they're going to go, uh-oh. And think about this, man. And I know I can't speak on ladies. I've never seen a lady do it. But a man, we walk into the room, what's the first thing we do? Scan the room for what?
Predator.
Hey, what's going on? Alright, what's happening? Alright, what's going on, man? Alright, how you doing? Alright, you good to go? How you doing? That's what we do. If you pay attention to it, but the ones that walk in like this don't want to make eye contact, automatically in our brain, they're what? Sheep. Okay, so again, something to think about. One other thing while Sean is switching this over. And this goes to anybody you know that needs a job, especially in security. 21 and over, guaranteed job right now from a company that we train. And I'm just saying this while he's there fixing this. If you're interested, my numbers is on there. Give me a call. We can get them in the next class. Before they graduate, they will have a job. Okay, and the class is 2 weeks long. Okay, they can do it unarmed, and we also have one where you can do unarmed, where it's 18 and older. You can get a security job, and also another one where it's a Maryland armed guard, which is in the state of Maryland, and that's going to be 21 and older. The price, how much start? So when you look at the DC Special Police Officer class, that class is $350. But again, you are hired once you graduate. Okay, but here's another piece on that also. They start about $17 an hour starting. Okay. Also, the Maryland Armed Guard is going to be about $14 an hour starting, but that class is $250. All right. Requirements: you can't have any felonies, you can't have any misdemeanors within 5 years, and you must be able to pass a urinalysis. Okay. You must be a U.S. citizen and at least 21 years of age to carry a firearm. All right, so again, anybody interested or know anybody that needs a job, anything like that, this company gave us right now authority to hire 20 people. Okay, so hop on it. Next class is going to be August 5th. So once Sean get that up, you'll be good to go. Any questions while we're waiting on him?
It's only full-time, no part-time, right?
Full-time, yes. What you can do is, if you go through, I'm sure they can actually provide some part-time for you if you go through it or have that license.
Okay.
Just a quick question.
Yes.
So is this license for DC, Maryland, and Virginia, or it's only for Maryland?
So you have two. So one is going to be for DC, Armed Special Police Officer, which is just going to be for DC. And then you have the security guard part of it, which is going to be for the state of Maryland, and also armed security guard for the state of Maryland also. So just each license for each state,
Okay.
as well DC and the state. Anybody else?
Okay, before Sean gets started, I have some elected bodies in the house with us tonight that I need to recognize. So I would like to introduce Councilwoman Tanya Chu. Can you stand up, please? Councilwoman Renita Cason. Former council member Ken Benson. And Councilwoman Carolyn Brown. Oh, that's not everybody. Thank you.
Second. No problem. Why are you doing that? Anybody have any questions about anything when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to active shooter, anything like that before Sean, why you thinking that? Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if this is relevant, but what are the laws for carrying mace and what's that? Stun gun.
Stun gun? Alright. So first of all, let me say this. If you do carry, make sure you carry something that works. Carry what the police carry. Okay? One of the good things about it is Sabre has and we're Sabre instructors, They have a OC that's actually with only arresting capsules come a pepper spray. Stay away from the mace. That's the gas station stuff.
Okay.
Right? That's just an irritant. Just I'm good. I'm back at you. Right? So you want to carry something that law enforcement carry or stronger. So they came up with this system where it's only arresting capsicum, and that's what we use because our main goal is to effect an arrest. Right? But now they have one for citizens that's only arresting capsicum and CS in it as well. Anybody here been in the military? Alright, so you've been through the gas chamber, right? So imagine both mixed together. Okay, so again, their whole situation is, if I spray that person, my whole goal is to what? Get away.
Where do you get it from?
What we can do is you can give me a call. I can order from you from being a rep for them and just let me know what you need. I will have to put you through a little class for it to carry it. And you'll get a card and you'll be certified to carry it.
How about those things?
Stun guns,
Yeah.
I'll stay away from them. Alright, and the reason that is because the ones that you think you're getting, you know, they don't work. And the reason that is the tasers that we carry actually reach out and touch you. You can get them, but they're going to cost you about $400 or $500. Alright, the good ones. But the ones that people think they're doing, because as soon as it breaks connection, I'm back normal again. Alright, so you go.
So it doesn't give me a chance to run, huh?
No, not at all. In Maryland, you got, I think, Sean, you know about that thing, you have to be certified on it?
Yeah, to have taser you do.
Yeah, taser, you have to be certified.
So if somebody hit you with a 6 million volt stun gun, once they pull it off, you all right again?
Well, the same thing about it is, it's not amps is what kill you.
Yeah,
Right? I'm sorry, volts will kill you,
I'm
amps.
talking about.
It's only has 50,000, right, Sean?
Yeah, 50,000.
50,000 volts. 50,000 amps. Oh, 50,000 volts. Amps is the one that kill you, I think. I haven't touched it yet, so. But yeah, it won't do nothing to you. Believe me, I've been stunned 5-6 times in a row, and I've been hit what they call an X26 taser, and you know it locks you up. You go down, and after you finish, yeah, it hurts, right? But the thing about it, if it breaks connection, then at that point now, just like somebody pinned you, and down right back at it. Okay, I can still continue to go through that. I can push through that. Anybody else?
I'm going to use it.
Holy slapstick.
Slapstick. Yeah, the ass with the baton.
Baton, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, those again. Anything like that, you definitely want to be certified, like special police officers and stuff like that. A lot of people keep them in their cars. The unfortunate part is, if you get caught using it in an offensive manner, then you're breaking the law. Okay, those are defensive type of weapons. So in other words, for us to use them, someone literally have to fight us for us to use a baton. All right, in the law, where if I pull that baton prior to that even happening, I can be charged for assault. All right, just possession of it. Now I'm trying to come at you with it. All right, to intimidate or anything like that. Yes. Because eventually, in order to hold certain credentials for those, you have to be exposed to it. And the reason that's important, at that point now you can articulate why you did what you did.
Is it legal to carry a knife for self-defense?
I wouldn't use that knife. I wouldn't do that. And the reason I wouldn't do that is because, again, is that for your kids? Yeah, I wouldn't do that because now you're talking about a weapon. What other reason would a child have a knife for? Right? And that's how the state's attorneys and stuff are going to look at that. What I teach my daughter, I bought her a nice metal pin from Staples that costs about $80. Nice and metal, hard, right? So what happens is when she's walking normally, and next thing you know she gets attacked, she can use the pin. She's a student. That's common. You get what I'm saying?
I keep a pin in my pocket.
There you go. and same thing go with keys. How we put keys in between. It's the same concept. But I would not give them a knife.
I said, one last question. What are the concealed carry laws in the state of Maryland?
Hard, very hard. Yes. The state of Maryland is probably one of the hardest states to actually obtain a firearm. Because once you go through the process, what happens is they're going to call you in an interview, and if you can't explain why you need it, and you can't say self-defense, at that point now you're done. Now what you can do is get an HQL, which allows you to purchase a firearm for your home, but you can't carry it. Anybody else? Good to go, Sean?
Nah, hold on a second, man.
Yes, ma'am.
So the only allowable reason in Maryland to have firearms is self-defense?
No, so a lot of times with the people that's granted the permission to carry firearms, usually they deal with, it's business related, transporting a large amount of money, transporting jewelry, things like that, anything of value. But if you just go in there saying that the only reason I wanted to carry every day is for self-defense, you're gonna get denied. Now, if you go to Virginia, you'll get it all day. Actually, believe it or not, the word I got in DC, you actually can get it in DC. So, might be something you wanna look into, but Maryland, I can tell you, the hardest.
Alright.
Down there.
Finally. I can't guarantee it's gonna operate right now.
It will.
It will? Alright.
Good to go. All right. Eventually, in order to hold certain credentials for those, you have to be exposed to. And the reason that's important.